Oh, it's on. It's time, folks. Here we are. Oh. Are you ready? I don't know if you guys are ready for this. I'm not entirely sure if you are ready for this. Here we go. Ta-da! What's up? TTA's 20 years old. Oh, we're so old. You can come off mute now, sir.
No, I'm shy. I feel old now. No, I'm a little tiny man. I'm a little tiny boy. I'm tiny.
Welcome. Welcome everybody. Welcome all y'all in the chat. Or if you're seeing this archived later. Welcome Edwyn. It's been I think a little while since you've joined me for a stream like this.
Yeah.
I think it was when we launched the RPG, maybe?
No, I don't want to think about that. No.
Which, that was already, that's going to be coming up on 3 years ago now already.
No, time is terrible.
Time is a construct.
I'm just glad it's only the 10th anniversary of TOME, because it was 20th, like I would dissolve into dust immediately. So I'm just glad it's just the 10th anniversary. That's the 10th anniversary. Just the 10th anniversary. It's the 10th anniversry.
Oh, man. I think we might have some timelines crossed. Possibly.
Yeah, you're right. It's just the 5th anniversary. No. I am a beautiful young 20-year-old.
Yes.
I'm beautiful.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at me.
100%, without question.
I still have all my skin and my knee bones. Oh man. Remember skin? God, having skin is beautiful.
It's overrated. I mean, frankly, it's overrated. So everyone, welcome. For those of you who I guess don't already know, but I would imagine you probably do if you're tuning into this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So this year, 2024, is in fact the 20th anniversary of TvTome Adventures, a.k.a. TTA, which was the very, very first incarnation of what y'all probably know better as TOME, Terrain of Magical Expertise. The first episode of the show premiered in, I believe it was August. I'm going to get the exact date because I always forget it, but it was in August of 2004. I submitted the very first episode to Newgrounds.com all the goddamn way back then. I can hardly believe it. Just yesterday on April Fool's Day, August 25th, 2004. But just yesterday, I decided in celebration and also as sort of a joke, but not quite a joke, I decided to take my personal favorite episode, and probably like the fan favorite episode, episode 60 of TTA, which was the season 2 finale called Duel of the Dragon, where a lot of big revelations were made and a big crazy final battle occurred and everything. I decided to take the episode and release a Dragon Ball Kai version of it, where I redid a bunch of the dialogue, redid a bunch of the music, redid the lip sync animation with help from the lovely and talented Faye Lyons, who helped me out since I couldn't do it entirely on my own with my hands all screwed up, and had some fantastic remixes by a whole bunch of lovely YouTube musicians and things, including a special mention, Koki Remix, who I did an English cover of Futatsu no Mirai, which was the TOME Season 2, the TTA Season 2 opening that I stole from Rockman EXE Access, or Mega Man NT Warrior Access in the US and otherwise. And you might also remember it as the Super Mario Bros. Z theme back in the day. And the cherry on top is I was very fortunate to have the whole thing performed by a mix of lovely voiceover actors who I've kept in touch with over the years from TTA, TOME 2011, and the TOME RPG. I had I don't want to say greatest hits because that implies that
that's wild, man.
But people from all 3 incarnations of TOME were part of it, and not the least of which is Mr. Edwyn Tiong, who's joining me right now. You might also know him as Omahdon. You might also know him as Dan McNeely. You might also know him as Nazo the Hedgehog.
That's me. That's all 3. I'm all 3 of those.
All of those.
All 3 of those. All of those.
Yes.
That's wild. Yeah.
And Edwyn has been, in fact, consistently across all iterations of TOME. He has been the voice of Giga, and as well as the narrator of the series as well for TTA for 2011 and for the RPG. And that wasn't on purpose choice because I always kind of envisioned Giga kind of being the narration, most appropriate character to be that in particular. Much like I always kind of envision like King Kai is also the narrator of Dragon Ball Z, at least in Japanese. Yeah, we released the April Fool's thing yesterday. It was half cringe, half awesome. I did really enjoy getting to do it. I was really happy with how it turned out. Edwyn, I wanna hear from you a little bit on something in particular. Give these folks a little bit of a history lesson, and I think that we have talked about this on maybe other videos before, but perhaps for the uninitiated. So, sure. I want you to start this story, and then I'll kind of jump in and finish the rest. But guide us a little bit through how you sort of hollowed out a bit of a reputation for yourself on Newgrounds, leading to a little show called Shin. And how you and I met, and your involvement with me for the last 2 decades.
Oh dear Lord! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh God! That's a big memory hole that I'm trying to dive into here. So
trying to fist into.
Trying to fist my way into the memories, trying to grasp, just reach in. Grasp the intestines, because that's the best way to reach. Now that's okay. So yeah, Newgrounds. Like, I did stuff before that on various other websites, but Newgrounds was like the place where, like, oh look, I can voice an animated character that's in real. That's not like a fan dub. Yeah, because I did fan dubs as well, a little bit of that.
So were you on the Voice Acting Alliance before Newgrounds?
Voice Acting Alliance did not exist back then.
Oh,
I'm gonna
man,
tell you, dude.
wow.
That's as far. That's very far back.
Well, just to clarify, those of you who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, the Voice Acting Alliance and the Voice Acting Club were 2 different communities, message boards back when forums were a lot more of a popular thing in general, where actually quite a few people that are still friends and colleagues of ours that are now working professionally and doing very, very well for themselves, doing games and cartoons and video games and anime, all sorts of stuff. Started on that site doing basically like amateur, productions, fan dubs and audio dramas, and some people were cast in, flash animations and indie games, really rudimentary stuff. This is like early 2000s. And there were a whole ton of folks. And Edwyn, you were actually one of the few that was kind of in both of those communities, and you knew a lot of people from both those worlds.
Yeah,
but before that, well, where was the first sort of place that you had like any kind of presence on then? Before any of that, then?
Oh my God, I don't even remember. Like, the very first like voice acting stuff was like was like on news groups, which I don't think most people know what those are anymore. Was the Final Fantasy news groups. There was like a project to like dub the entirety of Final Fantasy VIII. That wasn't gonna happen.
Wow.
But we believed. We had a dream.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII was like the game that so many people were like, I want to voice this character and do this fan thing or whatever. That was like the one.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
Yeah, I was Cypher Amasi. You can probably just find like the only thing that really came out of it was like something about like Final Fantasy VIII answering machine, and you can find that on YouTube somewhere. So that's still
were you in around. Were you in Mixed in a Ballum, the Newgrounds thing? Mixed in a Ballum, Final Fantasy VIII?
I think I was. I mean, that one had like also Final Fantasy X characters and Castlevania characters
and seven as well. Yeah, a whole bunch.
And 7, yeah. I think I was Alucard in that.
Okay.
I think, yeah. But yeah, skipping ahead a whole bunch. Silent Dreams. I believe that was the voice acting website before Voice Acting Alliance really started to take off.
Gotcha.
And Voice Acting Club came about because of Newgrounds. Like, at first, it was just the Newgrounds Voice Acting Club, and it was just like one thread.
Yes, I remember. And Kira was very heavily involved. Kira Buckland, of course.
Absolutely. She's started that whole thing.
Yeah. When she was the voice of every female character ever made on Newgrounds for a little while.
That was a thing. That was definitely a thing for the longest time. Yeah, on Newgrounds. Oh my gosh. And like, the first thing I did for Newgrounds was like 8-bit theater. I was taking over for somebody else, Black Mage.
That's right.
Yeah.
But baby, that looked even better crumpled up on my floor. I remember that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Corneria. I like swords.
Oh man, that series is classic.
Long time
glad
ago.
Yeah. And then came back. And then came back for the 20th anniversary. Dude, what is it?
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my! Wait, did that just have a 20th anniversary a little while ago?
There was like a Kickstarter to not print the comics because obviously the author can't do that.
Cool
but you could print the script because the script belonged to him.
Of course.
So like there was like a hardbound book. Oh man, I should have backed that Kickstarter. But he did make like a video, and me and Antonia Pizza, who's the voice of the fighter, we both came back as the fighter and Black Mage to do the promotion for that. And it was like,
it's wild because, by the way, you remember Bonus Stage?
There's a new episode of Bonus Stage. Yes, that is insane.
Next week on the 8th, Bonus Stage is also celebrating its 20th anniversary. I didn't even realize it was 20. Like TTA was, because I found it, I think, like in 2005. But yeah, no, there's a new episode of that coming out, and Matt's working on that at the moment. Yeah. Sorry, please continue. I keep interrupting your story.
No. This is the way storytelling works. We bounce off each other and all that. Okay, so 8-bit theater. Pretty sure Shin was what came next, and I was in there as Legend, and you can call me Mr. Dom. That was that. And God, so many of us were in there. Lucian was in there. Yes. Kira Buckland was in there.
Was Laura Post in there? Maybe she might have.
I'm not really sure about Laura Post. I know other.
Let me cut in for a moment. So there was a series on Newgrounds called Shin, Xin, Shin. It was a very anime-inspired little like flash cartoon. Very, very serious, not a comedy, like most, or not a parody like most stuff on Newgrounds in that era was. It was an original, like, anime-inspired, I think it might have started a little bit more like a motion comic type of thing, and then grew to have more and more proper, like, full-on animation.
The first season, quote-unquote, was more like still images with a little bit of animation, and then they just stepped out the game for the second season and made, like, fully animated characters.
So I remember probably I think I did TTA up through all of 2004. I think was when I did the full first season of that show. And because the first season was 30 episodes. Episode 30 was the first one that was fully voiced, and at the time, it went a little bit into 2005. I got Season 1. Oh no! Wow! Oh wait, it was way further than I remembered it being. Okay. I think,
oh man.
Unless maybe no. Sorry, I'm getting that wrong. There was a brief period. I always forget that this is a small detail. There was a brief period where I was not putting them on Newgrounds because for some reason there was some glitch in the system where I couldn't submit them. I don't know what was going on with that. I never quite solved the mystery of it, but
it might be because it was too big. Because I know Newgrounds for a time had like a limit,
big limitations.
and you do like crazy stuff to get around the limits.
Yes,
like some people managed to upload half an hour like flash animation, and you had to be like some kind of fucking genius in order to do that. Also, what's the language rating? Am I allowed to say?
Oh, you can say whatever you want. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, thank God. Okay, fuck.
Excellent.
We're definitely past the PG-13 rating now. We've broken that.
I'm realizing as I look at the video description of episode 30, which was the what's it called? The season 1 finale. I submitted that to Newgrounds on 2005, November 2005, but I know I must have made those much earlier because now I'm remembering when I couldn't submit them to Newgrounds for a little while, I was hosting them on DeviantArt. I think like a fair bit of them were hosted on DeviantArt, and then eventually I had them both on Newgrounds and on a certain now defunct Comic Hub website that I'm not going to name. Probably some of you know what it is. I'm going to leave it at that.
eBombsWorld.com.
That's the one, of course. Yeah, that's the absolutely. Yeah, of course. Nonetheless, yeah. So I put all those up at the time, but somewhere in, I believe, 2005, if I'm not mistaken about that. In 2005, I came across Shin. And I was very impressed by it, and particularly not only from the fact that, like, wow, it's like they're legit trying to do this sort of, like, anime-inspired thing. I was really impressed by the quality of voice acting in it, because up until that point, you know, like, the kind of common practice back then was just, you got, you know, you and your friends with microphones. I mean, even literally when I was casting, very heavy quotation marks on casting the voice actors for TTA in the early days, it was literally just people off of one of the forums that I was on, which was called the Fallout Shelter. It was attached to that now defunct comic site, not to be named. It was just like, who has a microphone? What do you sound like? All right, cool. You'll be these 1 or 2 or 3 characters. And it wasn't until I saw Shin that I was like, wow, you know, I would like to shoot for something of higher quality. So I reached out to Max, I think was his name, one of the head guys of that.
Max Mao, yes.
Yes.
Max Mao and Stephen Lim.
From LifePoint, yeah. And I reached out to them, and I said, hey, I'm doing this animated series, and I would love to work with some of your actors. Could you put the feelers out to any of them that might be interested, and send them my way, and let me know, and I'd love to have them, you know, work on my project. And they said, sure, absolutely, yeah, we'll reach out to, you know, our cast and see if anybody might be interested. And I'll never forget, the 3 people that got back to me were you, of course, a guy who went by Zareth. I don't remember what his actual name was. I know I had it. I want to say maybe it was like Kim something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't recall. He may or may not have been a VAA person. I don't recall, but he was in Shin, and a person who I knew at the time by Kagome. Which of course turned out to be the one and only Kira Buckland, who still to this day is one of my best friends in the world. And
to be or not to be,
of course, yes. And so I'll kill you. I at that time, oh yes, I remember this other specific detail. I was gearing up to work on TTA the movie, which was a glorified, you know, longer episode that I did. It's awful, and I hated it for a long time, and for many, many years. I actually made it impossible to find because I was so embarrassed by the quality of it that I semi-buried it. But in that project, that was when, because actually, and some people might know this if they go back to certain early episodes of the second season, which I was doing throughout 2005 of TTA. Edwyn was actually not the first voice of Giga. The gentleman that I worked with in probably like the late 30s, early 40s episodes for TTA was a guy named Dorn Matthews, or as he went by at the time, Rapmaster Flux. I cast him as Giga, and he did, I think, just the one episode, and I realized later on, you know what, I don't think this is quite what I'm going for this character, but I still wanted to work with him. So, funnily, and he had become a good friend, and actually he later, little known fact, he was one of the animators on the Nintendo collabs. He did the Metroid segment with "Happy Birthday, Samus! Self-destruct activated," and a few other ones. It's been a long time. I don't remember exactly which ones he did, but he was an animator, I think, on all 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And so I based the later character, the movie villain for TTA the movie, Flux, off of him and had him voice that character himself. And so by that time, you had been one of the people that reached out to me from Shin. And so I recast Giga to you, and the first time you played him, I believe the order of how it went was I cast you and had you record him for the movie, and then I had you were first heard in, I think, one of the mid-40s episodes where we were getting to the end of the X Games, which was the second tournament arc that we had, where he shows up at the end after Alpha and episode 46 is what it was. Alpha and Zeto have their big final fight at the end of the Z tournament, or the X Games rather, and then Giga comes in to interrupt the battle, and that was the first time that people finally heard Giga Crush, Giga Cannon, Giga Slash, etc. Which of course was a staple for. Could we get a little bit of a couple Giga attacks, please? From I totally stole your thunder just now. Please.
Sure. Ginger Crush, Ginger
Geiger
transformation, Geiger transformation, Giga Slash, Giga Crush. I don't remember exactly how I did those.
Giga Slash.
In fact, it's how did I do those without completely blowing out my microphone? I don't remember.
You might have taken a full step back. Well, because I gotta say, a big thing that gave you a tremendous leg up, not only the fact that obviously you had like real acting chops compared to, hey guys, I'm doing this voice. Oh no, something's gonna happen. You also had like decent audio quality for the time. I'm sure that probably if you went back and listened to it, it's funny because I was joking with Kira about when I was rewatching some bonus stage episodes, and that was around the time that I was getting to know her, was when she was working on that show. And I'm like, I was telling her, Kira, I could tell what episode was when you got a new microphone. And she's like, oh god, my cringe. I guess out of curiosity, like, do you remember like back then, like kind of like what your like tech stuff was that you had?
I mean, I know I got a blue Yeti at some point, and that significantly improved everything. But this was but TTA and all that was definitely before then. I think quite possibly it was a lapel mic strapped to a pen, and I was holding it up to my mouth. It could have been that, or it could have been like one of those, like, the desktop microphones, which are, that long stem.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, I had I couldn't tell you what the brand was, but I had like what looked like a shitty karaoke mic that I would just hold up. And I remember,
absolutely.
I did all of. I'm pretty sure I did all of the little and all that kind of stuff on that, Mega Freya Zeto and all the Japanese stuff I was doing for Zeto at the time, Shine and all that stuff. I think I did that on that microphone, probably, episode 30, the movie, and I want to say, I think that I did get my Samson C... No. I didn't get the Samson C01U until we did Parody Rangers, which would have been 2006. So, yeah. And
I think I also got the Samson C01U around that time.
Yes, okay,
sure around the Parody Ranger time.
Yeah, that
either
would
the
make
Blue
sense.
Yeti or the C01U by that point.
Right. Okay, yeah. And I was also still using, I didn't even have an actual proper, like, recording. I didn't have Audacity, I didn't have Audition. Was Adobe still, was it still Adobe? Was it something else back then?
It was still the Adobe, no, hold on. It wasn't Adobe Audition, it was Cool Edit Pro. Cool Edit Pro. That's what it was called.
Dear God, I have not heard that name. Oh, mother of Christ!
And also owned by Peter Quisgard. Thank you, Peter Quisgard, for all your help. Thank you.
You allow us to do so much.
I don't know who you are, Peter Quisgard, but you are the savior of every voice actor's career.
For real, seriously. Yeah, no, I mean, because that's the thing, is so many of us, we were experimenting around with all that stuff at that time. And it was because of these programs that we even had any ability to do fucking anything. Because I remember what I was going to say a second ago was I was still using the basic like Windows sound recorder program.
Oh my god!
To do the individual lines. Oh yeah, with the horrible like pee pops and stuff. I remember Colin, who was the real life person that Nylock was based on, who I went to middle school and high school with, would come over my house with that shitty karaoke mic.
Guys,
like doing the movie and like taking out the pee pops was just like fucking impossible.
I don't know how you do ridiculous. Anything, and it's ridiculous.
No,
bad,
I don't. I
truly
do not. I truly do not understand. But it was a wild ride, and I do remember by the time that we got to the end of the second season, which was within 2005. Yeah, that was within 2005 that I did that. I don't remember exactly when it came out because unfortunately the exact upload dates of the what's it called, the DeviantArt or you know, other site wink wink uploads, they're probably lost to time, unfortunately, so I don't have an exact date for those, sadly. But throughout 2005, yeah, by the time that we got to episode 60, I want to say I had some level of idea what the hell I was doing. Like, just some idea of like, how to go about that and everything. So, you know, I had all the people gathered up together, you know, all the folks that were voicing the characters at the time. I remember in particular, I wanted to make sure that I had, like, all of the side characters that had been throughout the season show up for, like, a couple lines or two. I wanted to give a little brief. Actually, the scene with Raccoon, Sajojo, and Simdragon, which eventually became Raccoon, Oddball, and Serpentine in the later versions. That scene originally had to be cut. I had to divide episode 60 into part 1 and part 2 because no site could handle a single SWF for the entire, like, you know, 25-minute long episode. It was just, I didn't have the trick that I hadn't met. I don't think I had met Alvin Earthworm yet. Maybe I had by that time. But later on, when we were doing Parody Rangers, was when Alvin taught me how to, or Mark Haynes, creator of Mario Bros. Z, taught me the trick in Flash where you could, like, put a scene in a single, like, movie clip and then, like, hold on that frame for, like, you know, however many frames that the full scene was, and then it moves to the next one, that whole kind of thing. That was the way it was set up, basically. And so I had to split up episode 60 into 2 different parts. And the scene with the hackers showing up briefly had to be cut. I think I had, like, a separate SWF that was, like, a menu that led to the 2. Yeah, on the comic site that they were hosted on, I had, like, a menu swift that led to part 1 and part 2, the bonus scene, and the blooper reel that we had. Where I believe you had quite a few, unbeknownst to me, because I hadn't played Metal Gear at the time, quite a few Gray Fox references with your outtakes as Giga at the time. And I do remember I was not directing my actors yet, not really, with very few exceptions, which I'll get to one of those in a little while, but
I don't think the internet was that. I'm pretty sure I had a 56K modem, and live communication with that would have been impossible.
Yeah, I don't even remember for sure if I was talking to people. No, I was definitely talking to people on Skype by that time. Like, without question, I definitely remember that was like around that time for sure. But yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think that my direction to you by that time was like, hey, so now in this new thing that we're doing, just do the legend voice. That was really my only direction. I didn't give you any pronunciation guide, so hence Kage Mamaru was said in that episode instead of Kage Mamoru, which the rest of us were saying like weebs with tapping the R, as we say. But it was good lord. Yeah, we did everything. I was collecting all the individual lines. Some people took about 800 goddamn years to get their lines in, and literally I think I was animating. Yeah, I was animating, and every project that I did was like this, like kind of during that era of like 2005, 2006 or 7, was there would be like 1 or 2 actors, and usually they wouldn't even be actors, they were like friends of mine, that would take like a million fucking years to get me their individual lines. So I would like animate around all of their stuff, or I would have like, I would animate like the character movements, but leave like a hole open for where their line would be, and then do the lip sync later after that, and have that in like at the time, just to be able to keep like working as much as I could. And thankfully, because back then I wasn't doing it the way I do now, where I have like a full scene edited with the audio, all the individual things cut together, and then animate to that single MP3. Now, that's typically the way that I do things, but back then, I would lay individual lines. If I needed to have something boosted in volume, I would, like, duplicate the line, like, over itself, like, multiple times. God. So certain people that were, like, really, really quiet and really bad audio quality, I had to, like, have, like 4 versions of the same line overlaid on top of each other, and then like you would be like perfect pristine quality, so it was just the one. And if somebody had like audio static in the background, I would try to like fade out by the end of the line, so it would be a little bit more of a smooth transition. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was truly the most like haphazard, nonsensical way of doing things. Yeah,
we tried our best.
God. Yeah, no, it was something else. My God, I'm trying to think of what else at that time. I mean, I tried to do. Here's something. For both the movie and for episode 60, Edwin, you mentioned earlier the whole thing about like Flash movies on Newgrounds couldn't even be submitted if they were a certain size too big. Oh, hey, here's this.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the theme I copied and used for Zeto's theme in TTA. Oh, yeah. Wily's Castle #1, Mega Man 7. Anyway, one of the major problems that I had back then as well was the limited amount of vector art that I could actually use in anything back then, because if I had too much of it, everything would just crash and die, and it was horrible. So what I had to do at the time was, a lot of you will probably notice that the non-sprite animation, the actual like, close-up sort of models that I did, the kind of, MS Paint ass-looking graphics that I did. The reason that they look like that is because I learned pretty quickly that I couldn't actually have them be vector artwork. So I took what I drew, I think in Flash, and then put it into Photoshop and drew over it again as like pixel art, because even though Flash for some reason could hold like 7 million fucking like PNGs and GIF files, it could not handle that much vector artwork, which is why they all look like these crappy like MS Paint, drawings. And then their eyes and their mouth shapes, and I think sometimes their hands, were vector. I would draw those directly in Flash, but all the other parts, like the limbs and the heads and the different angles of all that stuff, those I would all do in Photoshop, and then bring them into Flash and like kind of like arrange them almost like a puppeted kind of type of animation style with that and everything. Basically was my whole way of being able to do that at all. So it was very, very, very jank. In a perfect world where I had more physical ability and energy to do, I would have tried to actually redo those graphics for this like special edition version that I did, but that was not going to happen, and I did not want to ask other artists. I asked Andy Fairline such a huge favor already to do the resync all the mouth animations to the new recordings and everything like that.
Yeah.
And my God, yours, because Giga talks for 800 years. that alone was difficult. But yeah, and it's funny. Who'd have thought that back then, I didn't even intend for this to be the case, but that. I hope you're very proud of yourself ended up being your catchphrase that lasted for all 3 incarnations after that. Like, who'd have thought? Yeah.
Who'd have thought? Yeah.
Maybe just that delivery you made was just so good that it was just like, ooh, I'm gonna do something with that.
It's my I'll be back.
Yeah, kind of.
He doesn't even say that anymore. Can you believe it?
He doesn't say anything anymore, really. Well, I think as this familiar sounding Mega Man 7 music that I've ripped off is going to be fading out in a second, I think it's time to treat everybody to a little special surprise real quick. We're about to have someone else join us for just a few brief moments. He's someone that you guys have heard from before. Let me real quick. I'm gonna mute my desktop audio. I'm going to briefly take out my headphones so that Edwyn, they'll still be able to hear you. Try talking real quick.
Hello, everybody.
Oh well, great. When you talk, it makes Kerbifer talk as well. So don't use that to your advantage. Okay.
Definitely not.
I need to be frozen for just a second because I need to make a call to our guest on my actual phone. So here we go.
Wow.
Hold on. And hopefully you'll be able to hear him over the phone.
Oh boy.
Hopefully you guys can hear Edwyn as well.
Like the physical.
Hello? Hi. How we doing?
I'm doing good.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the live audience in the most politically correct way possible?
Yes. My name is Victor Niosi, a.k.a. Datafer.
And?
Voice of EXE.
Yes, Ned King EXE. And you do?
I do what?
And it's true.
I'm not doing that.
No! Aww.
We can't do that.
You can't? I mean, I did put up the blooper today, so I mean, it's already out there.
The blooper is fine. That was 20 years ago, my son. To be politically correct.
2020. I swear to politically correct God. That was my first way that I learned what politically correct meant. The chat is blowing up right now.
I'm so humbled to be here with you guys, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Probably one of my highlights of father and son collaboration, amongst other people.
Well, I remember we were living in not the Green. No. Where were we living in Long Island at that time? Where we had our neighbor that lived on like the other part of the house with the cat. I won't say her name so they don't dox her, but
You were living on Waterside.
No. That was where Mom. Where were we at the time? Doxing ourselves, for Christ's sake.
Well, we did the first one. We were here at my house in Greenlawn.
No. It wasn't Greenlawn. No. We went to because it was where your computer room. Find the computer room. Sorry, the little tiny. Was it Stony Hollow? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. We had this cool little place.
Nursery off my bedroom that we turned into a computer room. And
Yes.
a recording room.
Yes, and that was where. Actually, it's funny. This is a little off topic, but I just made a little quick video where I told the story about the Meta Knight Kirby plushie. That was the first thing that we got off eBay together. We stayed up until like God knows what time and got this like Japan only plushie of that character. That was.
We won that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and we were getting all those.
We went to the Nintendo store. They had shelves of them.
Yeah, and then I wanted to kill somebody.
In New York City, we walked in and you're like, what the F?
Yeah, but so 2005. So technically, to be fair, we recorded that episode, episode 60 in 2005. So technically, that was 19 years ago because I started TTA 2004. That was 20 years ago. Season 2 The season 2. Oh, no, actually, sorry. You did record EXE. The first time you recorded EXE was for just his like battle stuff, which was like the take this, not today, all that kind of stuff. That was like 5 minutes of recording. We did that for the first season, which was an episode that didn't have like full voice acting. It was just a little, battle clips and stuff like that. I remember the following year, I was telling you, okay, your character is the twist villain. He's the guy that's been behind everything this whole time. Oh, it's so funny. Edwyn, hold on. Can you please let Dad know something that you just pointed out in chat right now?
Oh, sorry. It's currently like 11 a.m. in Adelaide, South Australia.
That's the most perfect timing we could possibly have. So to all Australian Tome fans, make a wish. Dad, Edwyn here is a friend of mine I've known all the way since then, and he was the voice of Giga, who is the character with the golden cloak. You remember that? Remember that character that I dressed up as with the giant like poncho and the black armor that when I went to Otakon base? Yeah. That character in TTA that arrests you at the end and you're like, are you kidding me? That was based off of that character. Edwyn here was the voice of him, and he has played that character in every incarnation of Tome since TTA. So he's here with me right now.
Well, welcome aboard. Then you're better than me, my friend.
So I remember we had a lot of fun. When we did episode 60, we had a lot of fun in that little tiny-ass room. I think we still had, I was trying to remember, I think we had that crappy, like, little karaoke mic that would have to hold up to your mouth.
We had a pretty decent mic in that room.
I don't think we had that until, because the following year was when I was doing Parody Rangers. And that's when I got like a proper like USB mic. I think we literally had this little crappy like plug-in microphone that you had to hold up to your mouth to record. It was like not great, but we did it, and we recorded that whole episode.
20 years ago. So
yeah,
I was a young man then. I was a young buck.
Yeah, of course. I was literally Kerber for 15 back then when I was doing that. Right. So yeah.
That's right. We did record here at my home here.
Okay.
You had a professional.
Yes. Okay. So that would have been, I think, the final episode of TTA that we did, which was episode 73. That was the season 3 finale, and you had like a few lines in that because the whole thing was that EXE went to jail, and then he had to be brought back because they had to like stop like the sort of AI core of Tome like from going out of control. So you had to be there because you were one of the Net Kings. So you were a little more chilled out by that point because you knew you were basically on thin ice. So we did that. That would have been the last time that we recorded for him at the time we were doing the show. Like back then, I think that would have been probably 2000, maybe late 2006 or early 2007.
That would have been about 19 years ago, 18 somewhat.
Yeah, that was like right as I was finishing up high school.
I just got married then and I moved in here.
Right, yes, that's right, yeah. So, oh my god, yeah, that's crazy. And then, and so for this, I mean, again, people have seen the little video that I posted, but, so you came out to visit, in February, and you're hanging with me for a weekend, and we went to Central Command Studios, where I've recorded, quite a few anime shows, Tales of Zestiria, and among others. And my buddy Jeff, who I mentioned before, he recorded myself for my new Kerber for Enzetto lines, and he did the mixing and mastering on the cover of Futatsu no Mirai that I did for the fight scene.
Jeff was the Samoan guy.
Yes, yeah, he's the the bodybuilder beyond comprehension. Yeah.
Really, really great. He made me very comfortable. So did you.
Of course.
Although I was afraid looking out through the glass at you out there with the headphones on, waiting for you to yell at me.
No. I mean, no, the only yelling I did was giving you the motivation of like, I would, because I guess to blow the lid off this a little bit, the way that we did this, mainly to preserve Dad's voice, was I would perform the line. We would take them in sections because, like Giga, he had about 800, years of dialogue. And then he would parrot back what I was doing, just to, make it as straightforward as possible. So I like to think it was a collaborative effort. It was, yeah.
It really was. And then I drank a lot of water because I was losing my voice.
Yeah, I think I gave you some of my special tea with the cough syrup in it that soothes you. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So you had
all the screaming in the beginning, I believe.
No. We saved the screaming for the end. We saved it for the very end. Yeah. But Devin Mack, who you know, who's gone on to voice Raccoon and later versions of Tome, he always loved your performance back then, and he was like so happy with what you did this time, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, Dadifer's so good at this!" Like, holy shit! It's like, even literally right now in the chat, there's about 25, 30 people like watching right now, and they're all like, "Dude, he was so good. He did such a great job," and etc. So,
It was more fun.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
And you got to check out the new April Fool's version that we did yesterday. You watched it last night, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Watched it last night.
Okay. Did you remember like everything? Like, because I mean, you watched the old one. Like, did you remember certain things?
I couldn't tell if there was parts from the original one and then new ones that we did, or were all those lines new?
No. So the same stuff was exactly what it was, but I had tweaked some of the dialogue. Just because I had grown as a writer in 20 years, like the actual story and the things that were, some of the lines were like word for word exactly the same.
I sat here with the script. I had the script.
Yeah.
And Sue said I was being like a total nerd, but I wanted to see how I did.
Yeah. No,
I did pretty good.
No, it came together great. I mean, like I was just saying before I called you, I wish that I could have like redid some of the graphics, but obviously with my arm and everything, you know, I kind of had to recycle most of what I did back then. But I had the same,
I think that's good to say for another day.
I mean, I don't see myself doing like another version of this on top of it, but
Come on, I need the work. I need an excuse to come back out to LA.
Anniversary.
oh my god, yeah, the 40th anniversary. I'll come see you in the home, and I'll have you do it again.
No, 40th anniversary. I'll be how old? Me too.
Yeah.
I'll be dead.
No. You'll do it from the home. You'll be like a cyborg. You'll be a cyborg by that time.
I don't want to be living at 92.
Well, on that happy note, I think that's gonna do it. But I wanted to have you pop in and say hi. Actually, I'll give a real quick opportunity. Anybody in the chat, if you have any questions, appropriate questions for Kerba Dad, I will ask them. I'll give you a couple minutes to ask anything real quick. Actually, Edwyn, do you have anything you want to share while I have you guys together in the same speaking place here?
No. I admire the stuff that you did. You did that for you're great, and you're back again after 20 years, and you're still great. So cool stuff, man.
Thank you.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and so were you. You were back again after 20. I mean, you've still been doing this same character for every time. So.
A lot of the voices I thought were the original, and the only thing that we were redoing was mine, so I didn't realize.
No. Literally, no. So here's the thing. There were, I think, okay, there was you as EXE, me as Curb and Zeto, Edwin as Giga, Chris Zito. You remember Chris Zito?
Yeah, I remember Chris,
Yeah, Zito came back as Suzuku, and Gerardo Paz, G-Force, came back as Erica, which later became Archie. So there might have been one other one, I can't recall, but there were about 5 or 6 TTA reprisals. All of the other characters were voiced by actors that had played them in later versions of Tome and other stuff. So,
Right.
I'm just looking to see if that would you. Would you ever do another episode with the original cast like this? I would imagine you basically already answered that question. Would you ever do any more voice acting for any of your son's future projects or any other voiceover projects in general?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
I'd have to find something to do. Kerbadad, what did you have to do to really get into the role of EXE?
Well, I was coached well by both Jeff and Chris, so that helped. But I stopped trying to act it and just read it and let it flow, and it was more natural that way.
Uh-huh.
So I would hear it come back, play back, as you guys were directing me through it, I could hear how I went from it was sounding like I was reading it to sounding like I was living.
Yeah.
Sort of like when you were doing some of the things where you were running in some of the voices you were doing.
Yeah.
That you would actually move your arms like you were running.
Yeah.
And it would naturally give you...
Oh, yeah.
Out of breath flow.
Of course.
And trying to fake that. So, it was good. It was very interesting. It was great. You guys coached me. Phenomenal. And, I had a ball.
A lot of people, do you know who Stan Lee is?
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that you sound like Stan Lee. Like,
Recently?
He passed a few years ago. I literally almost wanted to have you do an outtake of going Excelsior or something. You could do that now. Say "Nuff said" as EXE.
Enough said.
There you go.
Excelsior.
There you go. As somebody also asked, what was a moment where you felt like you really nailed one of EXE's lines? Did you have like a favorite line that you really liked, like having look back at it now?
Are you fucking kidding?
Giga, what was your response to that? That's your cue, Ho. Where are you at?
Shit. Sorry.
Oh.
I was up. What?
He said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And your response is,
"Oh, may the force be with you."
No, silly. No, silly. It was, "I don't kid."
Live long and prosper.
No, try again.
Okay. I hope you're very proud of yourself.
Try again.
No, that was okay. I don't kid.
You nailed this one. Congratulations. Good.
Yeah.
Lord. I really enjoyed because I mentioned what my favorite line of Edwyn's was, but I really liked become one with this power and then become one with me. And hearing like the difference of like intensity from the original one and what you did this time, like you really gave it. It is not easy to do that for 2 hours. Like you really gave it your all.
That was one of the lines that I think we nailed it in like only 1 or 2 takes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also I probably didn't want to make you do it 500 times and blow your throat out, so there was that. And somebody said, "Oh, we hope that we'll hear you like in balancing act to somebody." I
hope so too.
If I do it union, I'm gonna have to taft you then, I guess.
Well, you'll find something.
I'll find a way, yeah, somehow.
What do they call a cameo?
Oh yeah, I'll have to look into contractually how that works, perhaps. But all right, well, thanks for joining us for a little bit. Appreciate you. Any last few words you want to give to all that, even people that might see this later? This stream will be archived later, so people will be able to go back and see this video. If you want to share any words to all the TOME and TTA and Data for fans that are out there.
I will leave you with this. Yes, I do have a beep.
Okay, actually, do you have anything you want to share?
And I love you, son. Had a great time. Rock on, buddy. Love you.
Alrighty, love you too. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we are. Victor Niosi, Data for Kerbadad, everybody. All right, let me get you back in my headphones. 1 second. Okay, now, boop, and you're back to good audio quality again. Hooray!
Hurrah.
Excellent. Oh my goodness. Well, my gosh. Well, we've gone for almost an hour. We can go for a little while. I'll go up through at least like the end of the Mega Man 7 OST before we call it a day. Just to talk about in general. I remember something now. This is something that I wanted to share, and I'm actually curious about kind of your thoughts about this time for you back then, Edwyn. Last year when I was re-uploading, or rather, finally for the first time, uploading officially all of the TTA episodes to my YouTube channel, because people had asked for me to do that for like so long, and I was like, you know what? I might as well, for archival purposes, I'll put them up here because other people have tried uploading them, usually without my permission anyway. I'll just go ahead and do that. And when I was going through those episodes, and even a couple years before that, when I was sort of semi-remastering them, I was updating the dialogue and exporting them with better audio quality and all that kind of thing. I remember, and even doing this April Fool's thing, TTA, as much as for many years I look back on it with some disdain, because like, oh, it's so crappy, the writing is awful, and it's so like cringy, and like I was still learning how to do art and animation and storytelling and voice acting, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There was something magical about just not the show itself, but doing the show, because I'll never forget all I cared about back then. All I cared about doing in that era was, it was all about just creating. It was all about creativity. It was all about the excitement of, because, and not that like it's bad to be motivated by, wanting to find success and wanting to make money, which are certainly, factors now. But there was a time doing these episodes, like, one after the other, where all I cared about was making the next episode. And there was something really magical and really cool about that time in my life where, like, and I guess it's, it was a simpler time, and whatever. I don't know. I look back now more fondly than ever on the fact that, like, that was the way things were. And I do kind of miss that, like, childlike comfort of just, like, being able to make stuff and it didn't matter. And, like, sure, like, it was a very small, very, very small fan base. It was a very, very small viewership of people that even watched the show. But just, and then, like, seeing the feedback from people on, on the Fallout Shelter forums and the posts and stuff whenever a new episode would come out and everything, like, and looking forward to seeing what people's reactions were going to be.
Is that the name of the
site? No, that's the name of the forum. That's the name of the forum. That's okay. Yeah, it's the other site that it was connected to.
E-Bombs World.
Yeah, of course, yes. E-Bombs World.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you, back in the day, like, did you kind of feel like that about just doing stuff for fun back then? Did you have kind of like a magical time in your life that you treasure, sort of like that, the way that I'm describing?
I mean, yeah, it's like back then I did voice acting for pretty much anything. Like, it was like, oh, we need voices. Okay, I'm a voice. I do voices. Let's try it out for that. And it's like, it's got me involved in like so many different projects. Like, I would probably have never, like Nazo and Shin and 8-Bit Theater and like Parody Rangers and like TTA, obviously, and all sorts of things. Some of them are probably have not aged well because Newgrounds humor is of a certain sort. I think we are all aware.
Yeah, no, I mean, Parody Rangers alone does not age well at all. Although, literally, like, one of the only good things to come out of that whole series was just you and Zito being hysterically funny as your characters.
It was so fun. So fun. Just so weird.
Because I knew that. Because the funny thing was, I do recall specifically from going from TTA to Parody Rangers, not to do a whole thing about that, but I do remember that was specifically, like, I was so impressed by your and Zito's performances, probably more than most other people in the cast of TTA, that I was like, I absolutely need to have you guys. Yeah. Convenient.
I don't
oh wow, and people are just now learning that you're Nazo. Somebody asked earlier who would win a fight between Nazo and Giga. Well, Giga's not
he's not a real.
No, I mean like, the player.
He's got a job. He's like he's a pencil pusher. Like,
he's a government. Granted, I mean, he's a government agent, and I think no, I did insinuate in season 3 when he was like letting himself be captured by the hacker team, the Purple Flame, in that season, and then he like judo chops, beats the shit out of Torben. So I do imply that he can kick ass in real life as well, but Nazo is like a hedgehog, like Sonic, like fan character god. So there's
there's
kind of no competing with that, TBH. Like, you know.
You don't fight somebody with laser hands. If somebody brings laser hands to the fight, nope. He's out. He's out. He's gonna go away and fill out some forms for a while. That's what Giga's gonna be doing.
On a similar kind of funny note, if you were to put Lord Zet and Zeto, now Zeto, same thing, is just the game character of this real person. Probably the player behind Zeto in TTA could probably beat the shit out of Lord Zet because he's a little fucking wimp. So there is that.
There's that.
Oh, someone remembers Grant and Grant and Smash Tasm as well. I see in chat.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was fun. They
had a little Tome cameo at one point too.
They did.
Yes, they did.
I remember.
Yeah. Well, as we're kind of getting close to the end, I usually like to open it up a little bit to questions. So for this one in particular, if you guys have any I guess other TTA questions. I did already do, for those of you who don't know, and I will recommend this as an extra thing to go check out. In fact, I'll go get a link to it. I did have a live stream that I did last year after I had finished releasing the last of the TTA archives. I did a live stream where I basically answered any and all questions about what season 4 of the show was going to be like. I like, you know, talked about the entire story, like from beginning to end, and answered a lot of questions live from the chat and everything. So I will have in here a link to the live stream that you can go to. It's the Secrets of Season 4 thing if you want to go check that out. Do I think I'll ever do another Nintendo collab? That's not TTA related, Jacob. And the answer is no, I don't think so. Probably not. I have certainly thought about... I've thought about the idea of doing Nintendo Dolphin, which was...
oh, wow.
Disgusting, offensive... What was it? It was like... Disgusting, outlandish little parodies helmed in Newgrounds was the acronym of Nintendo Dolphin. That would have been the 4th collab. I played around with the idea of maybe doing that at some point, but honestly, I'm not really interested. Not really, to be honest. I would sooner do like a reboot of Parody Rangers than I would do a new Nintendo collab. And which, by the way, was a thing that we did play around with as well at one point. We recorded some stuff for a pilot, for a sort of like revival of that as an original cartoon, and I ended up like, this isn't really the thing that I'm passionate about doing, so didn't end up happening, sadly. But, you know, oh, my goodness. Trying to give you people some last few minutes to ask anything else, if you might want.
In fact, I'm pretty sure. Wait, wasn't I cast in as Jeff first before you cast me in the TTA?
No.
Is that how that worked? No.
No. So the order was I had you do Giga and TTA.
Right.
Then you did Jeff from Earthbound in an episode of Skittles and Bits.
That's right.
Yes, which I did a bunch of voices for that. I was Mega Man and a few others. That was where the Shadow Man, I am a pitbull thing came from. It's stupid. And then I cast you as Willy in Parody Rangers because of that. Because you were doing this like, and then I went to the thing, yeah. I had some weird like hyper voice. I had you do Willy in that. And then when I did the first Nintendo collab, then I had you do Jeff in 2 of those. And I had you do multiple voices for him depending around that point. So which TTA character would solo Sword Art Online? Fuck if I don't know Sword Art enough to know, to be honest. You might know a better answer to that. I am Stickman. Of all the TTA elements that made it into the RPG, which ones are proudest of repurposing? I mean, relevantly, I did really love the fact that we had Giga. Okay, Giga So Giga was based on Base.exe from Mega Man Battle Network, who was typically always the final, like, mega difficult post-game boss. And the fact that we basically, not as a post-game, because there's technically no post-game in the Tome RPG the way that it's set up, but the fact that we were able to actually make the Giga into the super boss of that game was very, very creatively fulfilling to me. I felt very, very happy that we were able to do that in the first place. And to bring it all back around again by having, instead of it being like a gotcha line, it's a genuine line of, I hope you're very proud of yourself. And as he, heads off into space to be with the rest of his... I guess I will mention, and I think I might have told you about this at some point off camera, Edwin, but had we ever gotten to do like a sequel or DLC or something, I had other bite-themed aliens that would have been from the same race as his, some of which were sort of based on other TTA characters. Because Giga, which stands for magenta, gives the implication of mega and killa for kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, yellow, cyan, magenta.
I get it.
So
get it.
But of course, so that was kind of what I was sort of implying in a bigger sense with Giga. So who knows? But does Giga just play Tome as part of his job, or did he actually enjoy playing video games? I always imagined, and I think I also told you this at some point, Edwin. I always imagined that, at least for TTA and Tome 2011, for those incarnations, that the agent that was the player of Giga was actually a fan of the game, and that's why he wanted to keep it alive. And that's why he worked, like, as the kind of, like,
liaison.
Yeah, the kind of, like, middle point between the Cyber Protectorate Department and NetKing Software in terms of, like, hold on, let's try to find a solution to, not have this game have to be shut down despite the you die in the game, you die for real shit that's going on, because I like this game. I like MMOs. He's like, I imagine that he was a little bit of a nerd growing up, and, like, that part of him is what, like, led to his, like empathy for the NetKings and everything. That was what I always kind of imagined. So, yeah.
Cool, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Maybe even RPG Giga is a gamer in his own way. Perhaps if the DLC ever happened. If all the TTA hackers fought each other in a fight, which one would win? You know what? I wouldn't say that he'd win, but I think that Raccoon would just somehow survive. Like, he just, like, pop his little head out of, like, the pile of all the bodies and be like, I live! So, that's my assumption.
And then he get hit by a kitchen sink or something.
Yes.
Some just heavy object just hitting him.
No, it'd be a brick. Because that was always the joke back then, is like, oh, I said something stupid, bricked. You get hit by a brick that is thrown off screen. That was the joke back then.
That was a thing. Oh my god.
Sure was.
We're showing our age.
Oh boy.
Showing our age.
Oh, would I ever live stream playing .hack someday? Probably not. Because as much as I very supremely appreciate .hack for inspiring the shit out of me for Tome in the first place, I don't much actually care for those games. and
to be fair, they're very boring.
Yeah.
They're very I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. Most of the sort of on I'm going to get myself lots of hate messages, but sort of
No, do it.
No. They're boring. They're boring games. They are really... Just watch the anime. Just read the manga, watch the anime. That's great. You got the experience.
Yeah.
It's just so much grinding.
The irony was that by the time that the fourth and final .hack game in the original quartet had come out, I was stuck and I was like, you know what? Unfortunately, I am not actually enjoying this enough to want to keep fucking playing it, so I stopped. And I looked up the ending on YouTube, which was new at the time. So there's that. Yeah. But yeah. So probably not. And also, I'll be honest, if I streamed playing those, I think about 2 people would watch them, and they're hours and hours and hours and hours of my life that I don't want to waste. So yeah, not so much. Excuse me. Asking when I try to port Tome RPG to the next Nintendo console, whatever it may be, or the Switch if possible. I mean, I would love to do that. But my goal, I would love the last legitimate thing that I would really, really like to do with Tome in general before I'm just like, all right, like it's over, like for real. I would love to do a port, like a console port on the Switch or the next Nintendo console, whatever it is.
The Switch U.
Yeah, of course.
Just call it 2, please.
Yeah,
God, don't make
real.
it confusing again.
I don't,
just
honestly, no, they're not even gonna make it the Switch. It's gonna be like something else. It's gonna be like a different thing. They don't do the number. That's Sony's thing, is they do the numbers.
Yeah,
like, period.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I would love to do a console port, and I would like to expand upon the base game and add some additional boss fights. I would love to add some additional opportunities for some other backer characters for people to donate for.
Nice.
But for that to happen, unfortunately, it's going to have to come down to the game is going to have to sell as it is on Steam. And without giving numbers...
Money.
Yeah, without giving numbers, I still have to make quite a bit more before I ever make a cent off of the Tome RPG. I still have never made a cent off of the game. Not during the Kickstarter, not since it released, nothing. It has all gone towards the people that I paid to help me make it, and the publisher. And until we pay off the rest of what we owe them for, what they gave us for the publishing stuff to finish the game and get the voiceover and everything. So, if you would like to pick it up on Steam, there's a link in the chat right there. Oh, and thank you, RedCarb98, for the $5 super chat. Been a fan of your work since Brawl Taunts and TTA. Watching your improvement as an artist inspires me as an artist and animator myself. Thank you. Well, thank you, and I will forgive the fact that you mentioned Brawl Taunts. It's fine. I still love you anyway, and I still very much appreciate it, and I'm glad that I've provided some inspiration. So thank you very much.
Those are lies. He's lying to you right now. No.
Were you in Brawl Taunts? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure I was. I don't remember
who you were, though. There were 3.
Who was I in Brawl Taunts?
I don't remember.
I would say Jeff immediately, but that's no, that's not right. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Did I ever come up with full canonical names for all the Tome characters, or just the ones that I actually named? You know what? I think only the ones that they showed the names of in the episodes were the only ones that I ever showed. Or rather, that ever came up with. Yeah, I think that was the case. And thank you to Call the Echidna for the $5 super chat as well. Ever think of bringing your characters to other online places like VR chat? Yes, I think that my Kerbifer, like my full body one, is I think can be used for VR chat, but I don't have any VR tech, unfortunately. So I would have to actually get that at some point. So maybe someday, maybe if a friend gives me like a cheap, like older VR headset or something that I could use, because they're even like cheaper ones are still expensive, and that's not stuff that I should be spending money on at the moment.
Yeah,
so
I love the idea of VR tech, but yeah, it needs expensive, needs a lot of room. So many wires.
Yeah.
So many wires.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
There's just so many things on top of everything else. So it's
for sure.
It's hard. It's hard right now.
Oh, Ben Bob asked, Edwin, what's your favorite thing about Kerb?
Nothing. I hate that man. I hate that Kerbifer. Look at him. So round. So rundular.
You really mean that?
Oh, I want to pinch his little cheeks. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love his grunts. I love Kerber for his little grunts.
Yeah, that used to be your old impression of me was, oh,
no,
God!
That's not me. That was back.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right.
I've imitated Mac's imitation of you.
Oh, yeah, everybody's old impression of me, like, as Chris, was like, oh, God, I have to animate today! And I'm like, wow, I'm not nearly that angry. Or maybe I am. I mean, I did go to anger management, so it's very possible. Well, my favorite thing about Edwyn is that he is so irreplaceable and indistinguishable. I've never met anyone in my life that is quite like him. Not even Gideon Emery, who I have met and directed, and even then, who he's always like, oh, I don't know. Gideon Emery is just me, but better. And I'm like, no, you are you, and I love you, you stupid bitch.
No. Who's been in Final Fantasy twice? That man. Also Dragon Age. That man. That man has been there.
That's true. Yeah, we're the fake versions. I was the fake version of the character that Gideon Emery went on to play later. Shit sucks.
Oh that's God. Wild. It's wild. That's our connection to Gideon Emery.
Oh, Red Card Bass.
Talented man.
Is my dad doing well? Yeah, my dad's doing well. He's taking good care of himself. He's been through a lot of medical shit in the last year. Funnily enough, not funnily enough, it's horrible. He went through a worse problem with his hand and his arm than I did, and that's fucking saying something. But he's taking care of himself. He's doing what he needs to. Oh, Tikal, thank you for another $5 super chat. Understood. I still want to bring some of my old Pokemon Chat to VR chat. I've made 3 Mewchow and Umbreon Chow. Well, you're way ahead of the curve. You're way ahead of the curve buffer on that then, because I don't even have any VR chat, VR stuff at all. But again, maybe someday. Who knows? I would love that. Marketable Giga Nightlight when? Yeah, that's a real piece of Tome merch we should do. A Giga Nightlight. Giga Nightlights! Giga Glow!
Oh my God, just having it say that every time when it turns on. Oh no, that would be...
I did
awake. I'll be very awake.
I have to tell you, I forgot to mention this, but the earlier bit about how I was very happy that we had Giga as the super boss in the Tome RPG, he was also... Because I didn't have, like, battle foley for the characters that were real people, because, like, real people don't generally do that. So
sure,
yeah, so for the most part. So but because if they were like a game character, then that would make sense, because then you would be hearing the same voice clips over and over. So I'm like, oh, finally, all of these years later, we get to have, Giga Slash, Giga Crush, Giga Recovery, like actually in the game happening when he performs the attacks, and it fucking rules. I was so happy about that.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. Yeah, I mean, I still would love, that's another thing. I would still love to do Tome merch at some point. That would be nice, but it's hard to get merchandising deals, unfortunately. And especially when the pandemic hit and stuff, like, it was bad. It was really difficult to even like get any of that stuff to work out, unfortunately. So, but I'm hoping maybe someday.
I mean, you could get like a makeshift for like a plushie of a character.
Yes,
like,
I certainly could do that. Funny, yeah, those are certainly supposed to be coming within the next couple months or so, Lamau. So,
I see.
Yes. What other Tome characters would I like to turn into makeshift plushies? I mean, probably at the top of the list that would make sense in terms of what would sell would be Raccoon and Nylok. And maybe Zeto, maybe, but yeah, but even then, I mean, like, I was shocked alone that we made 200 of the Kerber one. I was really surprised by that. So, but who knows? Which voice actors have the most soothing voice to you guys? Well, obviously Edwyn Tiong.
Voice, yes.
Obviously,
hello.
Edwyn Tiong, yes.
Give me all your money right now.
I am legend.
Yes, give me all the monies. Do it right now. Put it in chat. Give me like a couple of dollars. That's all I'm asking for.
And by that, I mean those dollars will go to Chris Niosi's bank account instead.
Oh, damn. I didn't think about that. Oh, my plan did not work at all. Darn. Fuck. Okay, now just tell me your mother's maiden name, what high school you went to, and what are the fucking 3 questions so I can access your fucking bank account.
Those wacky 3 numbers in the back. Probably not likely would I ever consider doing reanimated collabs for any of the TTA finales or even the Flux movie or future anniversaries. I'll have to take part in one. Probably not for TTA. I haven't even thought about doing that for TOME either, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, like, oof. I mean, that's very flattering to ask, Kudo. I appreciate that. I don't think that there's enough artists and animators that are fans enough of TOME to actually do that in the first place. There's lots of wonderful fan artists that are out there, and I love I always, to this day, I still always go check the TOME Tumblr tag to just see what you guys make, and I like every day, and I'm always so blown away that people still continue to make stuff. It's very cool. But yeah, as far as like a reanimated collab, probably not. I don't see that happening, unfortunately. So. Red card.
Thank you, Red.
Thank you for the $2.
Thank you for the $2.
You convinced me to send you money, Edwin. Aha! But joke's on you. The money's all going to me. Ha ha! Oh no!
You owe me a Coke. Wait,
sure.
Does $2? Well, does $2 even? Wait, no. Does $2 even buy a Coke these days?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just checking. I don't know.
If you come visit LA again at some point, then I'll have to buy you a Coke.
Because like $2.
Well, I'll have to buy you a Coke there, eh?
Oh yeah, $2 doesn't even buy you half a Coke in Australia anymore.
What?
It's ridiculous. No,
man.
no.
You guys have shitty exchange rate. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Naru.
Oh
my goodness. Well, I think we could probably start wrapping up here. So, well, everybody, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, for checking out the anniversary special that we did yesterday. It really was a lot of fun to do. It was another little fun something that I thought. Excuse me.
And also, just a quick, yes, I have seen Guillermo del Toro's like Pinocchio.
Yes, me too. I did a whole blog about it.
It's good fun. It's good fun.
In fact, a blog that was voted for on my Patreon, which, if you want to support my future artistic endeavors and future animation projects that may or may not involve TOME, go to patreon.com/Kerbifer and consider even for $1 a month, you will help support my future works and allow me to eat food, which is always good. So, yeah, thank you everybody for helping to celebrate the 20th anniversary of my first long-term animation project that I put a whole lot of time and effort into. And I really appreciate you all. And again, whether you've been a fan since all the way back in the day, or you jumped in around 2011 TOME, or the RPG, or, through other means that you might know me or Edwin at, we really appreciate you very much. Edwin, you are Omahdon on most things, yes?
Almost everything. I'm trying to wean myself off Twitter/X because that's a hell site, so that's not doing it. I'm also Omahdon on Blue Sky and the Tumblrs, and I think that's about. and YouTube obviously as well. Yeah,
yes.
I think that's.
You know what? Here, let me go get your YouTube because you guys should go check out the VG Cats adaptation with no name.
And also the Overwatch adaptation with no name.
Yes,
big
indeed.
thing for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, if you have like any consoles whatsoever, Freedom Planet 2 is coming out on consoles literally tomorrow for Nintendo Switch in Australia, but I think for everywhere else it's like 2 days because Nintendo has like a tiered release. So it's coming out on April the 4th. April 4th.
Yes, of course.
So that'll be out on the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Switch, the Switches. Yeah,
absolutely. Go check out Edwin's YouTube channel and take a look at all of his funny videos over the last like 15-20 years that are all on there. There's so much good stuff. That was actually another fun little thing. Little known fact: you reprised Leo, the VG Cat,
Yes, I just remember that as well.
Yeah. In what's it called? In the Tome RPG. Sadly, we could not track down Autumn, who played who played Eris opposite to you, unfortunately. So Kira voice matched her for that as the opposite. But the two the two cat statues at the Yin Yang Temple that give you the cat coin, which is quite a sacred object. So that was a little fun extra cameo that we had on top of that as well. All right. Well, on that note, I think we are going to... Oh, sweet. Excellent. I got you one whole new subscriber. Look at that. I'm such a good friend. Mano. Thank you all so much. I'm going to give myself a bunch of hearts. It's because they're all for you guys. We're going to call it quits here. I'm going to go cook myself a burg. And have a grand old time. I will see you all on the next stream, which will probably be next week. Quick announcement. I've got something very cool that I'm actually going to be recording tomorrow morning, and I'll be posting this probably on Saturday. I want to give a little plug. I am going to be interviewing a gentleman named Carl Willems, who was the voice director for Death Note, Inuyasha, X-Men Evolution, the old Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z, Iron Man and Armored Adventures, Fantastic Four, Elemental Jade, Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai. Lots and lots and lots of awesome anime and cartoons at Ocean Studios, the Ocean Group. I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. He rarely does interviews, but he has been appearing on the Anime Time Machine streaming event. And speaking of which, I want to give them a plug because on I'll be releasing the interview probably on Saturday, but on your mother on Sunday the 7th, Carl is going to be streaming on Instagram.com/Anime Time Machine, and it's going to be Carl, who directed early DBZ, Saffron Henderson, who is the Canadian first English voice of Kid Gohan and voiced Kid Goku as well, Brian Dobson, who voiced Super Boo and Dr. Gero in the Canadian dub, and Brian Drummond, who was the original first English voice of Vegeta, who founded the Over 9,000 meme. Man. They are going to be doing a live stream on this Sunday, the 7th of April, in celebration of Akira Toriyama's life and work. Of course, with his recent passing. And so I implore you guys, please head over to instagram.com/anime.time.machine. I've put a link in the chat below. Please go check them out on Sunday and tune in to the interview that I've got with Carl on Saturday that I'll be putting up on then. We're sure to talk about, perhaps we'll talk about the long-fabled lost Canadian dub of Dragon Ball Kai that's never seen the light of day. I want to see if I can get some new information about that at some point. So, all right. Edwyn, thank you again so much for joining me. This was lovely.
Thank you for having me on, Chris.
Excellent. All right, I'm gonna take us out here. We'll see y'all on the next one, and thank you so much, guys. You have a lovely rest of your week, and keep an eye out for more. And don't forget to battle on. Bye
bye, guys. I hope you're all proud of yourselves. Yeah. Scene.
now the sun is rising up. The bells are echoing, signaling the sound of change. Throw your cares away now. Trust in me, I'm never gonna leave no matter what. So look inside to find courageousness with no restraint. Then let's make a vow to keep moving along like the lyrics of a song. Look to the sky above and know that